Hey, hey, we've got a massive patch this coming Thursday. Oh my god, so much stuff added. Okay, so let's start with the new Eagle Upties first. So we're getting Uptie 4, and we're getting base power increases, coin power increases, skill effect changes, and coin effect changes, combat passive effect changes, and support passive. So basically everything is changed. They're basically rebalancing all the IDs across the board. And so you can see one of the IDs is going to be rebalanced, which is what Massault can see that his coin power has increased. I'm pretty sure one of these was a +1 or something, which made it really bad. And if you look at this, it seems like they are putting like still sin affinities on all of their defensive skills. So they might open up a strat where you just defend all the way, and you can build up sin affinities. So if you have like a first wave in a human fight or abnormality fight that is really easy, that the enemies don't do enough damage, you can just keep using guard to keep building up sin affinities over and over until you get to the next one and you just spam your eagles all the way. Unless they are changing that. Like they are just making so that or you they just assume that you have infinite ego resources, which I hope it's not the case because I prefer playing without infinite ego resources. Just prefer managing my ego resources during the battle itself. But even if that's the case, I think it's still fine. So, and I think he's becoming more of a tank, in which you gain your charge count from the passive here, and also the guard skill here. So they want you to guard and gain a lot of charge count passive, and then unload on his last skill right here. And he seems to gain a lot more charge count, I think, from what I'm seeing here. At least enough for the final skill, which is amazing. So he's probably finally usable as a semi kind of tank and of defense level down character. And then you can see later in the patch notes that they're completely changing defense level and offense levels. So that's Basalt. And then we can see the new Eagles here. They gain base power, coin power, number of targets. So there are certain that they're changing the attack weight here. So the attack weight means that it like it is basically the AoE. So the attack weight is 3 here, so it's a 3 AoE. From what I remember, this wasn't an AoE, and now it's becoming an AoE, I think. There's also another one later they'll show, which is Pursuance, which becomes an AoE too. And then the Corrosion is a 5 AoE, which is pretty insane. I don't remember whether this one or Rhyme Shank was AoE, but whatever. There are certain egos that are becoming AoE, which make them much better in boss fights and whatnot. And it just overall increases their power level. And to be honest, egos weren't that good. So at least Rhyme Shank and this one weren't that good. So changing the attack weight makes it so much better. You're just rebalancing all the egos and IDs across the board. So now we're getting to something pretty controversial, which is the identity uptie cost and the ego to spin cost. So the identity uptie costs are kind of okay. I was expecting about 50 around there, which is what they gave us. But I wasn't expecting that 1 stars and 2 stars had this high of a ego shot cost. I expected 2 stars to have more of like 20 and 10 or something like that, and 1 stars to have like 0. You just uptie them right away. But apparently not. You need 50 to it and 20 ego shots to uptie 1, which I don't think anyone is gonna do unless they become super OP or something. And the 3 stars are just the ego shots I'm okay, but the threat cost is frankly ridiculous if we don't have a new threat luxcavation. And on top of that, the the ego shots become a lot less useful, but at least they're giving us more. The ego shots become a lot less useful because ego shots have a what convert into threat, like 1-to-1 conversion into threat at the end of the season. So if since we are gaining at least more ego shots, we are gaining at least more threats during the end of the season, which is fine, but it does not make up for this level of insanity for the uptie cost. The one that is absolutely absurd is the threat spin cost here. The ego threat spin cost. 100 ego shots for hair ego is absolutely insane. I doubt many people are gonna uptie their hair egos anytime soon. It's this just absolutely insane. There's like what, two dupes for a hair ego, and the threats is just absolutely insane. 150 is just too much for identities and whatnot if we don't have another luxcavation. I really think people are gonna complain and this might get changed. Unless they say that this is like the final tier for a long time. Like for maybe 2 years, tier 4 is gonna be the final tier for a long time. They're just using this to rebalance the game, but still the cost is absolutely insane. I hope this is the last tier for really, really, really long time. I doubt a lot of people are gonna like this. It's just ridiculously expensive. I don't know why this is so expensive. It prevents people from trying a lot of new units, especially when they come up. And like Nimbus was known for being a very generous gacha game, and that you can try a lot of new stuff, and it's very you can compete in Reflection Railway even if you are free to play. So this is a bit eh. But if this is like this for a long time and they give us a new uptie, I mean a new threat dungeon and EXP dungeon, I'll be alright with it. Next we'll get into the update notices. So they are releasing the new Dawn. We'll get into what the new Dawn does later. And the new threat spin tier 4. And this is what I wanted to get to. They're adding a new aggro system. This is not that important. Just adding like a button to change like how much information is displayed. Like in other gacha games where if you want in more information, you just increase the level, then you can get some more details. Like I'm guessing they obscure the numbers and obscure the point values and something like that. I don't know, whatever. And so they're adding aggro values because tanks didn't really tank. Couldn't like tanks with low speed couldn't really tank. See, Zoe Rodion has 2 to 4 speed, so she couldn't intercept clashes to tank. Now they're adding aggro values to offset that, so that in your abnormality encounters, there were a higher chance to target these units with higher aggro values, and so some of their skills will gain aggro values in the for certain turns, which I think is an amazing change. It just makes tanks with lower speeds, like some of Assault's IDs, some of the really annoying tank IDs, much better. So this is a really good change. But it depends on of course, how they implement it. And also another thing is that in human fights, this doesn't really matter. So yeah, I still think they should focus on one game mode, either abnormality fights or human fights. I think abnormality fight is the better of the two, so they should either remove it or make it a non-factor, or maybe they're already doing that. But overall, I think they should do something about human fights at least, like actually do something, because they're just adding a lot of things, and a lot of them don't seem to have a lot of. They're just focusing on abnormality fights for now, and they're just leaving human fights alone. But they're still difficult, and they're still annoying to get to. So I'm hoping they change that sometime soon. And they're adding an attack weight UI, like what I said earlier. Instead of AO, like when your units have a ego or skill that has a AoE target, it changes to attack weight instead. So targets 3 means 3 attack weight, targets 4 means 4 attack weight, so on and so forth. So that's the same thing. It just makes it more streamlined, makes it easier to remember. And think- honestly, it's just a cosmetic change. Just make it easier to think about, remember, whatnot, whatever. And next, they are changing the collection system for hard mirror dungeon rewards, the previous announcement, in which they're just changing like mirror dungeon hard mode to do it once per week, and you get like 2 times the base rewards, and you're getting as much as doing 3 weekly mirror dungeon hard modes per week, which is really good since most people don't want to grind since it's like 1 hour, 2 hours to do one mirror dungeon hard mode. It makes it a lot less time consuming. And now they're modifying the clash win and loss odds display. So they're just changing it such that when it's hopeless or very low, the odds are just lower. And then when it's dominating, the odds are very high. So they're changing it so that it's more like a bell curve. So it's concentrated in the middle. Such that more of them are normal and favored and struggling, but fewer are dominating and hopeless. So it misleads the player less. When you know when you see hopeless, you're probably gonna lose very hard unless you have like a lot of coins. Like you're probably almost definitely gonna lose. Dominating, you're definitely almost gonna win, even more so than before. That's just how they're displaying it now, which I do agree with this change. And now they're changing. I think this like helps players to keep track of clashes more. And now they're changing offense and defense levels, such that like the previous change I mentioned in the previous video, where they're just changing it such that the offense levels they are relative to their level, and it's the same with the enemies. Next, yeah, changing some of the base ego's passives. Like I thought a lot of them were pretty, I would say, very badly designed. They were probably designed first, so they didn't really know how the game would be like, and the game has changed a lot since launch. And so they're just buffing and changing a bunch of the. Oh wait, no, this is the offense defense levels changes. The ego changes are here, yeah. So they're just changing the offense defense levels here. Some of them are way better than others. You can just see it one time. But the one that I wanted to look at is this one, the Roseate Desire one. It's from 4 offense level down to 10 offense level down. That is a whole. So they changing it so that 3 offense level is 1 attack power. So it just reduces the attack power of enemy by a whole 3 attack powers. Like, so their final power is going to be reduced by 3. That's absolutely insane. And that is only an Uptie 3. You're not, it's not even an Uptie 4 yet. It's absolutely insane. So this is the one to look out for. The Hongus one, I'm not sure how much defense level matters. I'm not sure how it's calculated. So I don't really know how good that is. And then they're just changing some of the ego gifts and some of the enemies for their offense level and defense levels. And so they're changing some of the egos because they probably weren't that well designed first and quite outdated. So they're just changing it. So this Iseng's one, when hit by attack, gain 3 buying and deal 20% damage. So it's basically the same thing, but he just gains less buying. So it's a bit of a buff. And for Dawn's one, this one's really weird. On hit, if the target bleed, heal 3 HP. So it works if Dawn has a lot of coins. But from what we have seen, usually Dawn doesn't have a lot of coins. So the newest Dawn ID has like 2 coins on all of his. of her abilities. So your 2 coins here. So it isn't that significant. The healing's only about +6, but it's still not that bad. And the target has to have bleed. This doesn't even affect bleed. I honestly preferred the previous one, but that had last resonance, and that was really annoying to get. Oh yeah, the one pattern you notice that they're getting rid of all the specific absolute resonance, like yeah, instead of lust, it's just nothing. Then Honglu's one, instead of gloom, it's just any. So they're making it more general, which makes a lot more sense, rather than just because it will be basically unusable if your team didn't have any last or whatever. So they're making it more usable. So and good in general because they're the base egos and easier to make work. So I do agree with these changes. But this one is just very hard to trigger, and it's not that significant either. Actually, for W Dawn, it will just heal like she has like what 5 coins, so it just heal 15 HP, which is actually pretty significant. But as the game goes on, we have more levels and whatnot. This will become less significant. And with Ryoshu's one, deal and take 5% damage for each unit defeat. For each enemy this unit defeated last turn. So this isn't that significant. And you have to have some insane AoE ego in order for this to work. So I'm not sure about this one. And the Honglu one, at the start of the combat phase, heal HP to the ally with the least HP by a count of A highest A resonance. So I think this is more general, way better than Gloom A resonance because you not all Honglu IDs have Gloom A resonance, like Gloom skills. This is way better. When another ally defeats an enemy, gain 1 attack power and 1 haste in the start next turn. So they're just completely nerfing body sack. I wouldn't say completely, they're just getting rid of the fragile. But this is a big nerf to not big, but it's a nerf to Rabbit Heathcliff. So you can only gain actually it's kind of a big nerf. Because it removes his haste and his massive attack power when doing waves. Like doing when in real weight. So this massive nerf, but I say it's a well-deserved nerf because body sack was completely overpowered, and this is just pretty good. It's just pretty good now. I think this is a completely well-deserved nerf and max to me. So you just gain way harder to. It's now way harder to trigger the rabbits like his coin. I mean his speed requirement for his S2 and S3. So I think this good, well deserved now because Rabbit Heathcliff was probably the best ID in the game. And Rudion's one +1 SP heal efficiency -1 loss. So it just makes your SP gain a lot higher and your SP loss a lot lower. That's it. So I assume this means that when you gain SP, you gain 1 more. When you lose SP, you lose 1 less. That's just it. That's just what it does. And the previous Rodon's passive is just terrible because you just lose SP for no reason. It's more of a downside than an upside. So now this is way better. And this one and Sinclair's one actually has 2. So I assume one is the passive for the normal one and one's passive for the corroded one. I'm not sure whether you can get both. So actually I think this is the actual skill. The first one's the actual skill and the second one is the passive. And this looks like a straight buff to N Sinclair. So this one allows him to manage his sanity a lot more. Inflicts the same amount of rupture on hit, but usually it doesn't hit. But you lose 10 SP. So if N Sinclair is at high SP, you just lose 10 SP. But if he has low SP, he will just heal 10 SP. So it allows him to manage his sanity a lot better. So this is just a buff to N Sinclair. If skills coins hits with it shares the Beyond Two Worlds theme. you want to keep a balance between the two kind of thing. So if a skill coin hits with a different side from the previous coin in the same skill, lose 5 HP and gain 1 damage up. So this is just allows Sinclair to lose his sanity a lot more. So this is obviously seems like way better than the last one because you just get attack power down. This one is just if you're using any other Sinclair ID, this is like if you're using any other Sinclair ID, this is pretty bad because you don't want to lose SP. But if you're using N Sinclair, this is just pretty insane. So another buff to N Sinclair, Sinclair Death, actually, and you have outis one. If not hit by an attack this turn, gain 1 damage up. So it's just reward for not taking damage. It's okay, anything goes kind of passive. But you can stack up to 3 turns. So I assume 1 damage up is like 10% increase. So 3 damage up is 30%. Actually, this is pretty significant. So you just might be a useful railway strat. And then you go all the way with Ebony's then. So looking forward to see what you can do with this. So you can stack up to 3. At the start of the turn, if below 25 HP, HP, heal 50 HP, gain 2 protection, and 1 enemy with +2 SP loss efficiency. So you want to be a low HP, and when you do that, you gain like a buff and whatnot, and then you do something. Basically, it's like a lifesaver at low HP. So this is whatever. Maybe you want to do that in Railway or something. Maybe it's a strat in Mirror Dungeon. I'm not too sure. This is just a whatever passive. I'm not sure what you can do with this. There might be some really interesting strats. Like maybe if Gregor gets a Honglu, K-Corp Honglu kind of ID, maybe this would be extremely useful. For now, I don't really see it. I assume this for his like G-Corp Gregor maybe? Yeah, and I don't know. Maybe an ID in the future. And so, oh yeah, they're changing Sunshower Heathcliff. So they're making him lose more SP per clash. And they're just changing his SP loss conditions. So it's a lot easier for him to lose his SP now. And it's specifically to this unit. So they're probably indicating it in the sanity tab. I hope they add more of these to other IDs. Like maybe some units gain sanity easier, some units do sanity easier, but this makes it very inconsistent because it's just one ID in the game that has different SP loss conditions, which is very weird. But this is a direct buff to Sunshower Heathcliff, and I really like it. But honestly, this is just whatever. You're just losing SP on Clash. I think that might make him pretty decent, but I wouldn't say it make him amazing. But he's still really good for like certain solo players and whatnot. So I won't say that's too bad. And make him a little bit more usable, I would say. So I'm liking this. And now we move on to the Dawn ID, finally. Maybe I should have covered this first. So the new Dawn. We have Gloom, and Lust, Gloom, and Pride. Very weird sin combination. But all of them are rather useful sin resources. Lust fuels Dawn's base ego. And Pride, I'm not too sure what this can synergize with. Because all of this have to do with buying and whatnot. I think Lust can fuel Ryoshu's Red Eyes. But that's pretty much it. And one thing to note is that the defense skill is just has a sin affinity, but I assume for Uptie 4 they're just gonna do that for every unit. Or maybe they're just gonna add that to every unit. I'm not too sure. So at X plus speed, coin power plus X. Oh yeah, they all have 2 coins. So I assume they will have high clash power, but low damage. And there's a way to increase damage, which is seems like what's going on here. So X plus speed, coin power plus X. So there's a way to benefit, there's a payoff for having more speed. And clash wind gain haste. So you wanna be fast, you wanna be speedy boy. Or in this case, speedy girl. Yeah, okay. Hit after clash wind, inflict bind. So you wanna inflict bind on the enemies and go fast. And the second skill, gain haste, clash wind, deal more damage based on clash count. So it's a lot of benefits for winning a clash. And deal more damage based on clash count. So if the enemy has more coins, you just deal more damage. So maybe the enemy is 6 coins and then Dawn will just deal massive amounts of damage. And on hit, inflict buying next turn. So there's a lot of buying application. It's just used to cripple the enemy, so maybe clash easier. There are certain bosses that it might be really good for, that have very few body parts, or you want certain body parts to have low speed. Like maybe the Ebony stem Abno, you want the roots to have less SP. I mean the less speed, so you can clash it easier and deal a bit easier, I assume. And at the final skill at X plus speed, coin power. Deal more damage based on clash count. On hit, declare duel. And on kill, heal SP for self. This is the payoff, I assume. So this is gonna be probably massive. Maybe coin power plus 3, 4 kind of thing. And of course deal more damage based on coin count. So this will be the even more damage kind of thing. I assume it's like 30-40%. Because they don't want to give it too much, because this is gonna be a idea about winning clashes. And I assume declare duel. So in a clash between units that are afflicted with declare duel and the unit status, the declarer has X plus clash power. So Dawn has a lot more clash power, or at least moderate amounts more clash power, and gains haste next turn after a successful attack. And the effects lifted, the unit that declared duel declares it on a different target. So you just want to use this probably sparingly. You want to declare duel of a unit and then just wail on them. And then you want to choose your duels carefully, kind of thing. Okay, I like this ID. It's just about winning clashes. This is gonna be, and the defensive one, on evade, targets lose SP, so it reduces the chances of the enemy winning a clash on evade. So I like this one too. If speed of all allies is higher than the speed of all enemies, this unit deals damage based on the speed difference between it and the slowest enemy. So I'm not sure how significant this is, but you just want to give all of your allies speed. So there are a few good eagles for this. The most obvious one is close eye view, which gives like something like +3 haste to all allies. This will make the activation condition much easier to accomplish. And I assume damage is gonna be very important. Like it might actually be significant, even though the new Dawn has only 2 coins for each skill. Judging from how much they're emphasizing damage. Deal more damage, deal even more damage. More clash power, more coin power. So this might go to an absurd amount of coin power and clashing power. Coin power, okay. And damage. So we liking this ID, but you have to see the numbers to see how good it is. People thought it was gonna be a poise unit, but it wasn't. And this is all I have for today. And then did you release anything new? No. So yeah, that's pretty much it. We're looking forward to testing all this new stuff on Thursday, and looking forward to see how much insane stuff comes with Uptie 4. And yeah, goodbye.